Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna
Krishna
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
I welcome you all to
Shri Radhe, Shri Radhe, Shri Radhe.
Please forgive me for stopping your beautiful chanting. Let us move to our next part of the session, which is Sri Caitanya Bhagavata Adi Khanda, chapter 13, verses 177 to verses 207 to 209. May I know all have joined today?
Hare Krishna, Shivani Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai, Priti Dasi from Charlotte. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Priti Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Garanga ki jai. Thank you, Mataji, for joining every day and giving you a beautiful association. Hare Krishna, Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna, Shivani Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Vinita Gandharvika Devidasi from Texas Police Station.
Hare Krishna, Vinita Gandharvika Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Garanga ki jai. Thank you for your wonderful and beautiful association and all your seva. Hare Krishna, Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna, Shivani Mataji.
Krishna, Hari Bol.
Some humble obeisances to Srila Prabhupada. This is Priti Vilasani Devidasi from Atlanta. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Priti Vilasani Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Garanga ki jai. Thank you, Mataji, for joining every day and giving a beautiful association and services. Hare Krishna, Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna, Shivani Mataji, and Pranam to you and all Vaishnava. Srila Prabhupada Srila Gurudev ki jai. Vrinda.
Hare Krishna, Vrinda Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Garanga ki jai. Thank you, Mataji, for joining every day and giving a wonderful and beautiful association and chanting. Hare Krishna, Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Shri Guru and Gauranga and all the assembled devotees. Yashamati from Chicago.
Hare Krishna, Yashomati Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Garanga ki jai. Thank you, Mataji, for joining every day, giving you wonderful and beautiful association and your beautiful chanting. Hare Krishna, Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna, Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Accept my humble obeisance. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga and all the assembled devotees. Shashida joining from Texas. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Garanga ki jai. Thank you, Prabhuji, for joining and giving a wonderful association. Please join every day. Is this your first time, Prabhuji? Hare Krishna.
Join usually for chanting daily.
Great. Please join us every day. Hare Krishna, Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Nitu from Baltimore.
Hare Krishna, Neetu Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Garanga ki jai. Thank you for joining and giving a wonderful association. Hare Krishna, Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharajas. This is Phanesvari Lakshmi Devi Dasi from San Diego. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Garanga ki jai. Very happy to have you on the call, Mataji.
Can you hear me okay, or do you want me to put the earphones in?
Oh, we can hear you, Mataji.
Okay, perfect.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Actually,
sorry, go ahead, Mataji.
Go ahead, please continue.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. I welcome you all to Bhakti Sangha Japa conference call for this mid-morning session. I would like to start by sharing a quote by Srila Prabhupada Ji. Everything belongs to Krishna. So by his favor, we get opulences, riches. But when we are opulent, we forget Krishna because Maya is so strong. Delhi, November 16, 1971. Today, we are very fortunate to have Her Grace Phanesvari Lakshmi Mataji on the call. Mataji will be enlightening us on Adi Khanda, chapter 13, verses 207 to 209. Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances, Mataji. We're very fortunate to have you on the call. Looking forward to hearing from you. Thank you for your wonderful association and your valuable time this morning. Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Garanga ki jai. Please take over the call, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji, so much. Can somebody put the verses on so that I don't have to manipulate two different things?
Oh, Mataji, yes, Mataji, we can put on. You start the prayer. I'll be ready. Oh, Mataji, your voice is going low.
Earphones in there. Is this better?
Yes,
Mataji.
Okay, let's just do this. I have a little bit of a cough, so I may be muting in between when I start coughing, so please excuse me. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Jayapataka Swaminiti Namine. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Pasyatya Chatarini. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. All glories to Navandas Thakur, all glories to Caitanya Bhagavata. Panchakalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. All glories to assembled devotees. Thank you, everybody. Good morning. And thank you for allowing me to enlighten myself on the Caitanya Bhagavat. Krishna is very kind by allowing me to do this. And you are also very kind by giving me this opportunity to dive into the sweetness of Gauranga Mahaprabhu. So the verses, actually, let me bring it bigger. See if I can do this. Mataji, can you make them a little bit bigger? I can't read this small.
Sure, Mataji, definitely. I'll make it.
Okay, thanks. Okay, that's good. Ye sunaye gaurangera digvijaya jaya kata otahana parabhava nahi haya. 207. Whoever hears the topics of Lord Gauranga defeating Digvijaya is never defeated anywhere. Commentary by Sri Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. The devotees of the Lord, who are expert in ascertaining the transcendental nature of the Lord, discuss the pastimes of Digvijaya's defeat by the omnipotent Sri Gaura Sundara and thus engage in the worship of Sri Gaura. Therefore, the inferior logicians can never defeat them in any way. Those whose resource is humility based on material knowledge glorify material arguments and fame obtained through such arguments. Yet, since they are situated on an extremely low platform, the Lord's devotees, who are inclined towards his service, can easily understand the deceitfulness of their material knowledge, which is another form of nescience. And by the help of intellectual considerations, they hear the confidential scholastic pastimes of Gaura Sundara, who is Vidya Vadhu Jivanam, the husband of transcendental knowledge, and thus become more enthusiastic in their worship of Gaura. Can you do? Vidyarasa Gaurangera Ati Manohara Ihaye Sunehaya Tamra Om Anuchara. Whoever hears the enchanting scholastic pastimes of Lord Gauranga will certainly become his servant. And the last verse for today. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Chanda Jana Vrindavana Dasa Tochupada Yuge Gana. Accepting Sri Chaitanya and Nityananda Prabhu as my life and soul, I, Vrindavan Das, sing the glories of their lotus feet. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. So, as I was reading these verses, I was realizing, or I was having some few thoughts. So first of all, he says here that because of hearing these pastimes of Gaura Sundara with Digvijay, we have no defeat. Yet this Digvijay had defeat. Or did he have defeat? Was he defeated? What is our definition of defeat? And what is our definition of success? So first of all, before we go through answer that question, I actually thought I want this to be a little bit of an interactive session. So you guys got to put your thinking caps on, because as I was reading through these verses, I was thinking, well, first of all, I have to have read these verses to understand the importance and the benefit of this palasruti, right? This is a palasruti, right? What is the benefit that one achieves with this, with reading these verses? So as I have been in and out of these classes for the last month, particularly Digvijay, I thought, okay, well, first of all, I need to at least read these verses. So although I had been in some of the classes, I hadn't listened to all the classes. So I went through all the verses. And as I was reading through these verses, I had some lessons came to mind. So what are the lessons that we can glean from this pastime of Digvijay Pandit Gaura Sundar? And what is the ultimate success that we will achieve after we read these? So in the beginning, we understand in the pastime what happened. Gaura Sundar was Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, was Nimai Pandit, was teaching all of his students and becoming very, very expert in his study and his teaching. And meanwhile, this Digvijay Kashmiri Pandit, Digvijay Pandit was traveling throughout India, defeating all of the different scholars, and eventually coming to Navadvip. Now, at the time when Digvijay was traveling, and what is Vrindavan Das Thakur explaining to us about the atmosphere and the environment that was in that area of Navadvip at that time. So in the beginning, he starts talking about there were so many scholars with so much knowledge who were going around and having discussions or vada with different types of people in order to prove their excellence. Now, in the beginning, it talks about vada, talks about different types of discussion. So we have Vitanda Vada, Jalpa, and we have Samvada. Now, Samvada is discussions that are for the benefit of somebody, of everybody. It's when we start discussing topics in order to understand the essence of that topic. Now, when you start talking about Vitandavada and Jalpa, then this is a kind of discussion that is full of pride And the whole purpose of this type of discussion is to browbeat somebody, is to prove their excellence. It's not for any kind of sweetness or understanding. So, question number 1, put your thoughts on, put your thinking caps on. What kind of discussions do devotees like to engage in order to enjoy, enthuse themselves? And I'll give you a clue of what verse I'm thinking of. Okay, so I have a raised hand. Let me give the clue. Well, okay, let me give the clue so maybe other people also might have an idea. It's from the Bhagavad Gita. And okay, I'll stop there. So somebody has a raised hand. Bhakti Sangha, I don't know who that is. I don't know if that's Preeti Vilasini or...
Yes.
It is? Okay, what verse am I thinking of?
Bodhayanta parasparam katayanta
Yes. Madgata Machita Prana, yeah, Bodhayantas Parasparam. Machita Madgata Prana, yes. Bodhayantas Parasparam, yes. So this is the kind of discussion. So this Vitandavada Prajalpa, this kind of discussion, what does it say? It says it is for to prove a point, to prove someone else wrong, to prove one's superiority. This is the kind of discussion that is not beneficial. Lesson number 1. That devotees, when we have the association of devotees, we engage in those kinds of discussions that will enthuse us in our devotional service. Okay, next, that is in the beginning. And then we go on to, now Nimai Pandit, what was he doing? He was going around and he was rebuking some of the scholars. Now, there's 2 different moods of these scholars as they were being in discussions, or were being when Nimai Pandit would approach them and discuss with them. And we have, remember, instances where people would just turn away and walk away because they were afraid of discussing with him. So there's 2 types of people. So there's one type of mood in which we can approach Gauranga Mahaprabhu. And one of those is that we feel honored to be addressed by him. And we see it as his mercy to be instructed by him. So there are some who saw him in this mood. They saw him with love and with gratitude for the mercy of this. Then you have those who avoided him out of fear. And it was fear tinged with awe and reverence. Awe and reverence because, seeing Gauranga Mahaprabhu, seeing Nimai Pandit, obviously with all this scholastic knowledge and all this, there is a certain type of personality, certain type of aura that somebody gives out. But this was tinged with fear. Why was it tinged with fear? Fear because he was going to take something away. Now, we sometimes are also afraid of Krishna, what Krishna is going to take away from us. I can attest to this personally. I always think, okay, Srila Prabhupada explains how, he was trying to start his whole business with the pharmacy and everything was taken away from him, right? So we can approach Krishna with this fear, or we can approach it with the idea that this is mercy. Krishna is giving us mercy in order to purify us. And the only thing that he's going to take away, and of course for these Pandits at that time, that was all they had, their knowledge and their stature as grammarians or as sastric exponents, as experts, right? So for them, losing that was like losing their life. So that was a kind of mercy that was shown to some of the different Pandits. Now, then we have Digviday Pandit. And he has come and he has so much knowledge and also pride. Now we have examples of how Krishna takes away our pride, and how Krishna takes away the pride of many different devotees and also demigods. So can somebody give me an example of somebody whose pride whose pride was taken away, and an example of that mercy of Sri Krishna? Okay, Vinita Gandharika.
Indra.
Yes, I was thinking of Indra. Anybody else? Have another hand. Bhakti Sangha, Preet Vilasni, another example.
Rama?
Yeah, I think Brahma too. He was kind of had a little bit of pride there. He did. But yeah, so he did all these different people, the devotees, that he would take the pride. But was it out of anger? Was it out of no, I'm going to get back at this person? No. How? With what mood does Krishna, does Chaitanya Mahaprabhu take away our pride? What is his mood in doing this?
In the Govardhan Leela, Krishna says, I take away his pride to give him relief.
Interesting.
This false ego, burden of all.
The burden of false ego, out of compassion. And I was thinking compassion and love, but that's fantastic. Yes. The burden, right? The burden of this, so compassion and love. Because the problem is, if you have this pride, can you get devotional service? You have to have, the heart has to be open. The heart has to be open in order to allow Krishna to enter. But with that pride clouding it, then it's difficult. So that is Krishna's mercy. He removes these things. Not only did he remove his pride, okay, he also removed all those opulences. Kirtida Sundari Mataji was explaining so sweetly yesterday how all the Digvijay Pandit let go of all of his elephants and his riches, and he only was focusing on his devotion to Lord Chaitanya. So this is what, and he was only able to gain that because his pride was removed. That burden of pride was removed. Thank you very much. Okay, so then, okay, let me think, I'll remember. And then what happens? He's eternally merciful, and the mercy is in order to, as I explained, to remove any of those burdens that are block our progress on the devotional class. So that was the fear of the third. And so everything is his mercy. He is eternally merciful, because whatever comes to us, whether we may see it as bad at that time, is ultimately for our benefit. Gauranga Darshan Prabhu explains, how did he say? He said, even the difficulties that are given by Krishna, he said, Guru, Sastra, he said 5 things. Does anybody remember what those 5 things were? He says, Guru, the Sastra that Krishna gives us, he gives us the incarnations. He gives us the Hare Krishna mantra. And maybe he said it was also those disturbances. Even those disturbances are given to us in order to progress us on the path of devotional service. Okay, so now also in this, interestingly enough, Vrindavan Das Thakur explains in there about Saraswati. Digvijay Pandit is a devotee of Saraswati Devi. Now, before, it has been explained that Yogamaya has 2 different. Yogamaya has her shadow potency, who's Mahamaya, right? And in the same way, Saraswati also, it is explained that Saraswati is Bhudevi, so these Leela Shaktis, what is this? Neela, Leela, and Durga. So Neela is Ramadevi, Leela is Bhushakti or Saraswati, and Durga is of course, Mahamaya. But they all have their shadow potencies. Now, these shadow potencies give us the material benefits. the material knowledge given by Saraswati, the material wealth that's given by Lakshmi, and then this material, this yoga, this Mahamaya potency of Durga that can cover us. Now these take us away, but he explains in here that they are actually the personifications of the internal potency of Vishnu, which was very interesting. And what are they? The personification of Vishnu's service potency, because they're serving the Lord. And in their position, in their shadow potencies, it's the material benefits that they're giving us. But once we turn our face towards Krishna, then they change, and they actually, they're Suddha, Saraswati, Lakshmi, and Durga, actually as Yoga Maya, help us in progressing on the path of devotional service. So it's very interesting how there's these different moods of these energies of Krishna, that in their service to the Lord. Now we need to understand that is their service to the Lord. And interestingly enough, it's explained, and we'll see that this is what happens in this pastime of Digvijay Pandit, who is debating with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, with Nimai Pandit, because who is it that comes to him, we shall see. So now it explains, so what happens? So after this first conversation, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has his first conversation with Digvijay Pandit. Excuse me 1 minute. Okay. So in this debate with Lord Chaitanya is sitting on the banks of the river. He is teaching his students. Digvijay Pandit arrives, and he sits down, and there is a discussion. I won't go into the whole discussion that was elaborately explained by, I think it was Kirti Sundari Mataji, partly. But there was a discussion that went on, and this Digvijay Pandit was humiliated in a way, but he felt very depressed that, oh my gosh, how am I not able to understand this? How am I defeated by this young boy? How am I defeated by this young boy, he's thinking. And actually the students were about to laugh, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu shushes him and tells him, "This is not to be. Do not do this." And what was the thoughts of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu before? So his thoughts before this encounter was, he was thinking, how can I remove this pride of Digvijay Pandit without causing him to become so humiliated that he would feel like he wanted to die, basically. So this was the mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He wanted to bring down the pride of this devotee, because after all, he is a devotee, right? He's a devotee of Mother Saraswati, but he was very, very dedicated to Mother Saraswati. But the pride was standing in his way. How do I remove the pride of this devotee without demeaning him, without cutting him down completely? Again, another lesson given to us by this example. Many times, we may have to chastise, instruct, or correct a devotee, a family member, our children, but we need to understand the mood in which we need to do this correction. So many times we as parents, I can attest to this fact, are quick to chastise our children in front of their friends or in front of their siblings. And sometimes that's not good. So we have, and especially when we are instructing devotees, it may be something that they have done wrong. Maybe it was something that they did not follow as far as correct procedure about something. But we need to be very cognizant of what is happening in the situation, who all is there. And like, as Srila Prabhupada says, time, place, and circumstance. So we need to be very, very careful when we chastise somebody or instruct somebody or correct somebody. Okay, so in this mood, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is again approaching Digvijay Pandit and saying, how can I instruct this devotee? How can I purify this Digvijay Pandit without completely annihilating him and his he wants to remove his false ego, right? Not completely debilitate this devotee. So this also should be our message. So again, as I said, lesson number 3 or lesson number 2, I don't remember now. But anyway, so another lesson that we need to learn. And then as we go on, so then we have this discussion. And of course, who else comes to mind? We remember how when Indra came to offer his apologies to Krishna, he actually did it in a solitary place, right? He didn't do it in front of Krishna. Did not expect him to come and offer his apologies in front of the world, because that would have caused him to, become more humiliated. So we have to understand what is our purpose in instructing. Again, what is our purpose in knowledge? If our purpose in knowledge and learning is to defeat somebody, that's ego. If our purpose in knowledge and debating is for more, is to enhance our devotional service, that's good. Same thing. If our purpose in instructing somebody is to show our superiority, again, that is a impediment to our devotional service. So these are 2 ideas we have to keep in mind. Hare Krishna. Okay, so let's go on. As we go on, so he destroys his pride. So and beautiful analogies are given in this chapter about how a tree that has a lot of fruit, right, that it bows down, and a scholar who has true knowledge is not filled with ego, but is actually filled of humility. So he also bows down. So wonderful examples of how we need to utilize, how we can judge. Is this benefiting our Krishna consciousness? Is this knowledge benefiting our Krishna consciousness? Am I getting closer to devotional service? Am I understanding my position as a servant, or if it's making me proud? If it is, then we need to keep that in mind. Okay. And then spoke about okay. And of course, it went on to speak about different pastimes of the Lord who were devoted. Okay. So another thing is that, we know in this verse, Krishna Varnam Tusa Krishnam Sangopangar Parshadam Yajnai Sankirtana Praye Yajantihi Sumedasaha. So in that verse, Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's astras, his weapons in that mood are his beauty, right? And the weapons he used to kill the other devotees, the other demons, whether it be Ravana and all the other demons. God, what am I thinking? Yeah, Ravana and the Sakatasura, all these different, and he was killing all these different demons using weapons or his own hands and whatever, his Vasudev potency, right? But in his incarnation as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in his pastime of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it's his beauty that he's using, and he's killing the pride, he's removing this ego of his devotees and not actually killing them. So again, that was explained in one of those verses. But after this, he gets defeated by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and then he goes on to, goes home, and he starts thinking, why was I defeated? What is wrong with my sadhana? Has Mother Saraswati abandoned me? This is what he's thinking. So as he's thinking this, he takes his mantra and he's chanting this Saraswati mantra that's given to him. And through the power of his Saraswati mantra, in his dream that night, Saraswati Devi approaches him, appears to him, and she explains to him that this is no other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, and you are actually blessed to be defeated by him. Can we think of somebody else who, through a different mantra, was given to him by another form of Durga, was able to ultimately reach Goloka Vrindavan?
Gopal Mantra.
Yeah. Who was the deity that gave him that? Kamakya. Kamakshi. Yeah, Kamakya Devi. Yes. So what does this tell us? That if the purpose of these, the desire of these internal potencies of Vishnu, whether it be Saraswati, Durga, or Lakshmi, who are in the service mood of the Lord, although they may distract us from Krishna, because that's what we desire. Remember, Krishna gives us what we desire. And if that's what we desire, then he's going to tell them to give us that. But if we, out of real desire, we come to a point, because that's what happened. Digvijay Pandit came to a point where he was like, hit the bottom of the barrel, basically. He's like, because this was everything to him, right? His knowledge and his Sanskrit knowledge, this Digvijay paper that, this whole thing that he was taking around, the certificate that he had, this was his life. This is who he was. And when this was taken away from him, when he at the bottom of the barrel, then finally he's like, what happened? What is the purpose? And he chanted his Saraswati mantra in that mood. So what did she do? She pointed him towards Krishna. So if we are able to desire the correct thing, especially when we hit the bottom of the barrel, when we're at our lowest, if we can turn to Krishna and purely, or pure devotee, purely request, please bless me, please guide me, then from there it's just all the way up, right? You've already hit bottom. There's no other way to go than up, but we have to choose to go up. We can't choose to stay the bottom of the barrel. Okay. Again, our desire of what we want. So, and she explains to him that it's only out of his causeless mercy that he actually appeared to you. Now, see, the thing is that at this point, nobody knew, nor did he reveal, or anybody reveal, the potency of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Okay. At this point, Saraswati Devi was the first one that said, and he was the first one to know. And it says that Saraswati Devi explains that he says, the Supreme Lord, who incarnates out of his causeless mercy, regularly manifests his various pastimes in order to award supreme eternal benefit to the averse living entity of this world. All of his pastimes are performed with the desire to deliver the living entities. Even Digvijay's defeat is his mercy. So this was actually from the Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is what the mood is, and this is what he did. So everything is done. This pastime was done with that mood and with that goal in mind. So, and so he's a Phanesvari. And then finally, we get to the whole part of material knowledge versus spiritual knowledge, right? Material knowledge. What is the problem with material knowledge? Material knowledge is used in order to enhance our sense gratification, whether it be the subtle sense gratification, which is name and fame, right? Or advanced sense or more gross sense gratification, which is wealth, money, cars, etc., like this. So in order for us to get this true knowledge, the Saraswati Devi gave him that true knowledge. So after he understood the position of Caitanya Mahaprabhu, the Digvijay Pandit came and Saraswati Devi explained to him, explained everything about the potency of the Lord. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur gives some wonderful examples from the Srimad Bhagavatam, which was one that what I just read right now, about how all of his pastimes are done in order to deliver the living entities, right? And then, so explains about how material knowledge is that can distract us from devotional service, is not to our benefit. But then he returns the next day, and again here, he offers his obeisances to Caitanya Mahaprabhu. There's nobody there, right? Caitanya Mahaprabhu embraces him. And as Kirtana Sundari Mataji explained yesterday so nicely, he became renounced, right? He got detachment. He became detached from all of these examples of his power, right? His elephants and his wealth. He let go of all of these things. So he became renounced. So that's one of the benefits. Renounced. He received true knowledge. So the benefit of his true knowledge was that he understood what the purpose of knowledge was. So what is the purpose? Again, another question for you guys. What is the purpose of knowledge? What is the purpose of studying all of the Vedic scriptures? And if somebody could quote me that verse that says what is the goal of all these studying of Vedas? Yes.
Yeah, so
what is Smriti Jnanam Apohanam? What's the first line?
Sarvasya chaham hridi
Yeah. Sarvasya chadam hridi sannivishto Smriti Jnanam Apohanam cha Vedaischa sarvair ahameva vedyo Vedanta krut veda videva chaham. Antena? Right? Right. So that is the purpose, right? So that is the purpose. She explained to him the purpose of the Veda. So he achieved true knowledge, he achieved detachment, and ultimately he achieved devotional service of the Lord. So, let me see if I hit all the points I want to say. Okay, and 178, 179, devotional service, the verse says, devotional service to Hari is the only substantial truth. All topics of the world will be changed and destroyed in due course of time, but the propensity for eternal service to the Supreme Lord will always remain intact. You will never be defeated. My devotee will never perish. So, getting back to those verses that we read, particularly for this day, what did it say? Somebody who understands the pastimes, these pastimes of Digvijay Pandit with Nimai Pandit, will not be defeated. So what is that defeat? What is that undefeatedness? There is such a word that we will gain. What is it that we are going to gain? Is it our position? Is it our wealth? Does it mean we won't die? What does that mean? Tell me.
Love and devotion for Krishna will not be vanquished.
Will not be defeated. That is the defeat he's talking about. You will not be defeated, meaning your devotional service will never go away. In other words, we are eternal. Yes, we will never die because the soul doesn't die, right? That our devotional service will go on and on and on. So this is this that you will never be defeated, what it means, right? That you will all your devotional service to the Supreme Lord will always remain intact. And you will at the same time achieve renunciation and attain, and as he said, you will retain renunciation and you will have true knowledge, because this is what ultimately we need. We need this knowledge in order to get to Krishna. And if we utilize it in the proper way, if we utilize whatever is given to us in the proper way, it will lead us to Krishna. So he teaches two things, and then Vrindavan Das Thakur in the last verse says, Mataji, can you put that last verse up once? The last verse, he says, actually, you know what? I think I can. Let me see. Share screen. No, it's not there. No, I couldn't share. Let me see. I can't find. I don't think it's up. Can you share the last verse that Vinita Gandharvika for me? The last two verses, the second to last verse. She's not there. Let me see if I can. Okay. Okay. So let's see if this works. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mataji. Yes. Whoever's okay, do me the last, put me the last verse, the last verse. He says, go 278, 208. What 208? Which one is this one? Whoever hears, okay, and then 209 will certainly become his servant. So that's it. No defeat, because we'll become. And this one, last verse, he says, accepting Sri Chaitanya Nityananda as my life and soul, I Vrindavan sing the glories of their lotus feet. And it says, so he is showing here, even Vrindavan Das Thakur, with all of his, and we know where he was, right? He was like rich beyond, compare, right, at that time. Yet he is also showing how he has, his humility. And this is the ultimate lesson here of how we need to be humble, no matter what our position is. It says right here, he thus teaches humility and modesty by setting an ideal example of subordination to the Vaishnavas. So this is what Vrindavan Das Thakur is exhibiting by his own example. So what were the lessons? Okay, can somebody tell me back? And there's probably so many more, but tell me, can you guys tell me, this is the pop quiz at the end of the lecture. I'm a teacher, I can't stop doing these pop quizzes. Can somebody relay back to me what were the lessons that I said? Yes, Preeti Vilasini, one lesson.
One lesson is correction should be done privately, like Krishna did.
Yes, okay, excellent. Number 2.
I'll give others a chance. I'm just talking all the time.
Okay, somebody else. Am I gonna have to pick somebody like the teacher?
That would be fun.
Okay, I'm picking. Who do I see? Shivani Mataji, I'm gonna pick you. I see you up there. Another lesson. I'll give you a hint. What about discussions?
You might have to pick someone else. I think she left because she.
No. Oh, okay. Shivani, are you there? Do you want to answer? Does somebody else want to answer?
Unmuted. Shivani Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Can you give me a...
Okay, that's all right. No stress. Hey, listen, I don't want to stress you out. You can say pass. I'll pick somebody else.
Pass,
no worries. Mataji. Okay, no worries. Induleka Mataji. Are you? Oh, she's probably at work. So let's pick somebody else. Vinita Gandharvika, I'm picking you.
Mataji, any lesson that from
any lesson you pick, you don't have to say one of my lessons. You give me one of your lessons. What did you learn?
Yeah. Actually, in front of Krishna, defeat is also a gain. We are not losing anything. We are gaining much more than the success, actual success, what we are thinking. That's what I learned. Because Krishna's love is ultimately a success, right? He had chosen us to defeat us. That's the great. That's what I learned.
Excellent. Oh, excellent, Vinita Gavita. Excellent. Something else. What else should we learn from this? And like I said, it doesn't have to be my class, any of these, because I haven't listened to all the classes. So if you learned anything else, I would love to hear it. Somebody else. I don't know who's at work. So I'm
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes, Shivani, go ahead.
When Krishna takes away everything that we have, and sometimes people get disappointed, like what happened to Srila Prabhupada ji. His pharmacy business was over, money was gone, everything was gone. But that's a blessing in disguise as well. Hare Krishna.
Yes. Thank you, Shivani. Yes, a blessing in disguise. Yes, those are the blessings. Kirti Sundari Mataji, another lesson. Are you coughing too? I don't know if you're in the middle of work.
No, Mataji, I'm not in the middle of the work, but thank you so much for a beautiful class. Yes, lesson what I got is that like in Devendra pastime, Krishna says that I give a big relief by taking up the pride. So Krishna, he dethrones Indra, but he doesn't disown him. So that's what, the biggest thing is that even if I commit something wrong in my life, I'm rest assured that Krishna might dethrone me from some position, so-called, but he will never disown me.
Fantastic.
So that's the greatest relief.
Fantastic. Excellent. That needs to be okay, you know what, guys? That needs to be a Bhakti Sangha t-shirt. Krishna may dethrone me, but he will not disown me for our next retreat. Okay. Okay. Excellent. Beautiful. Anybody, anything else?
Hare Krishna, HG Phanesvari Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Mataji, please.
Mataji, first lesson I learned that when more and more difficulties came in our life, we become more sincere in bhakti. And the second lesson I learned that Mataji, when we have a pride that, oh, nobody can preach like me, oh, nobody can cook like me, oh, nobody can make a garland like me. There is in our heart, Lord Krishna and Srimati Shri Radharani is sitting. But when pride is come, that time only Lord Krishna and Srimati Radharani will went away. So we should not pride of any services given by our Guru Parampara, our Acharyagan, Six Goswami, and by mercy of Srimati Shri Radharani, we get all the service, Mataji. And third lesson I learned from you that association of Vaishnava is very important. If we are not hearing Shri Bhagavatam, Shri Chaitanya Charanamrita, Shri Chaitanya, when I sit to read Shri Chaitanya Bhagavata Charanamrita, Mataji, I am not able to sit for 15 to 20 minutes and even not understanding. But when we hear from pure soul, then we understand, then वो directly हमारे heart में जाता है, Mataji. So association of senior Vaishnava is very important in our life, so that when we hear Krishna Katha, our japa is going more attentively, Mataji. Hari Hari Gauranga, Koti Koti Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you so much. And it's because your heart is so pure that it's able to be taking all these lessons in. Thank you so much. Thank you for all your association and your sweet, sweet nature. Hare Krishna. Any other lessons we have? We have like a couple more minutes. So is there any questions or comments, corrections, please? I'm sorry, I was kind of a little bit all over the place because I'm coughing and I get distracted so easily.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes.
Hare Krishna Mataji. I learned the lesson that Krishna is always with us, even we are doing good or bad.
Yes. Thank you. And your name, Mataji? I don't recognize your name.
Neetu Mataji.
Neetu. Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you so much. Okay. Any other? Is there? I think there was a question somewhere.
Mataji.
Yes. Preeti Vilasini.
Some more lessons. One is you learn more through Samvad.
Yes. Yes.
And a fruit-laden tree is humble and dense down. That is something to say.
Yes. Yeah, I really like that.
Yeah. And then real knowledge is actually knowing Krishna. So enlightenment fellowship with Vijay, whatever his fellowship was, it remained intact in spite of
Yes, yes, yes. So he did not really lose his title as a scholar, because he did ultimately understand the essence of the Vedas. So yes, excellent. Any other thoughts?
Mataji, can you please share more about Srila Prabhupada? You have so many pastime, Mataji. If there is anybody not studying realization or after studying all Vaishnava realization, can you please share more about Srila Prabhupada, Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada pastime?
Yes, Mataji, thank you. I mean, there's not much, just a little bit that I shared before. So about my personal association with him. I mainly, is there any other questions, comments, please?
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Sri Guru and Gauranga.
Hare Krishna
I
Mataji.
got a lesson from here that when somebody corrects us, so this is for our benefit. And by that way, we can advance in spiritual, our progress in our spiritual life. So it's very nice lesson. And all the time, Krishna is always with us. Even though Krishna give us any difficulty or whatever, but it is always benefit for us. That's what I got a lesson. And we should not proud whatever we have, everything. Instead of, we have to be humility. So humility is the very nice thing to learn that, and then by humility we can win. Anyway, we win. If we have a humility, that anyway we can win from everyone. That's what I got.
Yes. Ultimate victory, exactly. Thank you, Mataji. Yes, but the ultimate victory is we have Krishna. We have our devotional service. Yes.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Thank you, yes, Mataji. Okay. Any other thoughts? Did everybody know?
follows in the same mood. The last verse says, I Krishna, following the footsteps of Sri Rupa and Sanatana, I Krishna Nadi. Not Krishna, sorry, I'm so sorry for that. For Vrindavan Das Thakur, the last verse that you looked at, accepting Sri Caitanya and Nityananda as my life and soul. I Vrindavan Das sing the glory to their lotus feet. So you were telling that how the author also has the same that humility.
All right, Valli.
Yeah, right. Yes. I mean, and I think this lesson of, I think the one of the highest ornaments of a devotee, right, is his humility. Okay. So we always need to remember, because ultimately everything we have is because Krishna gave it to us, right? So it's kind of silly of us to be proud of something that we really didn't. I mean, it's only because Krishna gave it to us that we got it. So that's what we need to understand, right? So, and the only thing that we have, and the ultimate power that we have, is our love for Krishna. That's what we need to. Our ultimate power that we have is our love for Krishna. Because remember, Krishna himself says that I'm bound by my devotees, right? So that is our true power. You know, when everybody asks you, what's your superpower? That's our superpower, right? Our superpower is our love for Krishna. So we're all so we can all be superheroes.
Hey, George.
Okay. We can all be superheroes as long as we tap into our superpower, which is our love for Krishna. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Anybody else? Is that it? Anybody else? Okay. I don't know, Mataji, what do you want me to say? I mean, I've told you my story about how my father was instructed by Srila Prabhupada. And I could just tell you that again, that, my father and my mother, we came to the United States. When Srila Prabhupada came, I believe it was 74, he came to San Diego. Don't quote me on that date, but there was a conversation between Srila Prabhupada and my parents. And at that time, my father was asking Srila Prabhupada. My mother was very unhappy that she was here in the States. She didn't like it here. It was, in those days, it was very difficult, being vegetarian and all that. So it was really difficult for us to, there was no Indian grocery stores close by. So it was a completely different time in the US. So it was a really difficult time for my mom. So she really wanted to go back to India. So when they met Srila Prabhupada, my father was, my mother was explaining, I don't want to be here, I want to leave. And my father was also asking, because at that time, remember, all the devotees were leaving home and staying in the temple. So they're leaving whatever, they're leaving their jobs or their educations or whatever, and coming and staying in the temple. At that time, my mother and father, and there were 5 children, there were 5 kids. So my father had asked Srila Prabhupada, so, after a discussion, do you want me to quit my job and join the temple? And of course, that was, would have been very difficult with 5 kids, because how do you support 5 kids in the temple? But Srila Prabhupada actually gave him the instruction, said, no. So what I want you to do is, stay where you are. And he told her that your wife should cook something really nice, offer it to the deities, and take it as prasadam. You should take it as prasadam to work and give it to your co-workers and talk to them about Krishna. And he told my mother, like I said, was very, very, she really wanted to go back home. Came from a small village, lived with her parents, and then she got married and came here at a very young age. And it was so foreign to her. And so Srila Prabhupada instructed her that he said, you should you should have an altar in your house, which we did at that time. But my mother was the only one, as traditional, would just light the lamp in the morning, do a fruit offering or something. But Srila Prabhupada said, no, I want you all to pray together, to have have arati together, sing and read Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam together. So those were the instructions that Srila Prabhupada had given my parents. So that's what happened. They followed those instructions, and ultimately that's why I'm here. So as I've said many times before, it's purely by the blessings of our forefathers and our elders and the Vaishnavas that we are here. So we should always keep in mind that even in that, if you have pride that, oh, I am a devotee, even there we need to understand that the only reason that we are devotees is by the blessings of those who have compassion for us and have love for us, which are the Vaishnavas, our gurus, and our elders. So just as Bali Maharaj, right, by the blessings of Prahlad, he was able to have the association of Vamanadev. And we see there also, right, just came to mind suddenly, how Bali Maharaj's pride was taken away. But by the blessings of his grandfather, Prahlad, he was given the association of Vamanadev. And he actually achieved more than the entire universe. He actually got Vamanadev himself. So another example of how by the blessings that pride is taken away by the mercy of Krishna, and by the blessings of our elders, we get Krishna. So thank you very much, everybody. And thank you so much for your association. So many realizations that I get just by this honor of reading Caitanya Bhagavata. And it's really funny, I have to just share this. Krishna is very, very tricky, because I was, for the past couple of weeks, since I've been so overwhelmed with things at home, I've not been able to be on class every day. And I was thinking, oh man, I really wanted to read this, be in class for this Digvijay Pandit pastime, because there's so much in there and I haven't had a chance. And so here, see, Krishna is very tricky. He gave me these 3 verses where I had to actually read the chapter myself and go through the whole thing. So see, even there, Krishna granted my wish. So I thank you so, and by the mercy of the devotees, yourselves, the Vaishnavas, you have given me Krishna. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhyo vacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Phanesvari Lakshmi Mataji. Such a beautiful, beautiful meditative class, and what a superb finish to the 13th chapter. I really like the class. I enjoyed
Thank you.
it. Thank you so much for your association. Please come more often and give us your warmth and greetings by your class. Anyone has any questions or comments for Mataji, please feel free to ask. And Mataji, please take care of your health too.
Mataji, I don't have any question, but I wanted to say very, very beautiful class, Mataji. I really like how Krishna fulfilled your desire to attend the class. You just gave the class, and at the same time, whatever missed parts, you have able to read it. So sweet that Krishna, how Krishna fulfilled your desire, Mataji. Please pray for all of us also, Mataji, that we should also have a desire to read the books of Srila Prabhupada and our acharyas, and please Guru and Krishna. Thank you, Mataji, for your sweet association. As usual, your class is very, very sweet.
कृष्ण माता जी कोटि कोटि दंडवत प्रणाम। श्रील प्रभुपाद श्रील गुरुदेव की जय। माता जी आपके एक एक वर्ड्स में जैसे लगता था कि श्रील प्रभुपाद की वाणी सुन रहे हैं। और आई लर्न वन मोर लेसन दैट माता जी, our real families, our Bhakti Sangha or our Vaishnava, whether it's in a temple or whether it's in a Bhakti Vriksha or our Bhakti Sangha, they are our real family members. So we should say whatever, if our sadhana is not going, then we understand that I made something mistake, I made some aparadh, knowingly or unknowingly, by mind, then only my japa is not good. And our family, our real family is our all the Bhakti Sangha, Vaishnava, Bhakti Vriksha or temple Vaishnava. When we meet them or when we उनको गले लगाते हैं तो we get such a positive vibration. And Mataji, when the difficulties came in our life, whether it's from health or whether it's from by family member or anything, that Lord Krishna, when we are doing in a bhakti, तो गुजराती में बताते हैं कि सुई का घा सुई की से गया, सुई की नोक से. So when big difficulties came in Vaishnav's life because of that past karma, हम सोचते कि हमने तो हकीकत क्या सपने में भी किसी के लिए खराब नहीं इच्छा, तो मेरे साथ ही ऐसा क्यों रहा. But in past karma, because of past life we have done some karma, but Srimati Shri Radharani, Lord Krishna, our Guru Parampara is so merciful that they become that problem becomes like a needle knob. इतना छोटा भगवान बना देते हैं. So we have to accept whenever the difficulties come, we become more sincere, we take more responsibility to serve Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev, Shri Radha Gopinath, Jai Jai Nityananda, Jai Jai Gauranga. And when some Vaishnava give hard words, we will take it like a prasadam, so that that is for our purity. They are speak some hard words, we have to take it positively, and we have to thankful to that Vaishnava, that because of them we because material person तो हमें हाँ में हाँ ही मिलाएगी, but true Vaishnava is find our some faults, they will correct us, and we have to take it with Mahaprasad, and we will और हमें और अच्छी तरह हम भगवान का नाम दे सके, इसलिए वो हमें कुछ भी कभी डांटते या कुछ हार्ड वर्ड्स बोलते, तो we have to take it positively. all this lesson today I learned from you, Mataji. कुछ गलती हो गई है तो माफ करना. श्रील प्रभुपाद श्रील गुरुदेव की जय. श्री राधा गोपीनाथ की जय.
Thank you, Vrindha Gopika Mataji. Very sweet. And two things I want to say is that one is that when people speak harshly to us, and even it may be for our benefit, we are going to feel pain. And the thing is that we can acknowledge, it's very difficult to take it, like, say, I deserve this, this is what I need. That's really hard to do. So we can, in our heart, say, that was painful, that hurt me, and we can name the feeling, address that feeling, and then we move on. Because if we push that feeling down and say, I just need to accept this like a, stalwart devotee, then we're not really acknowledging it. And it's much more difficult to get over it. So it's better to say, you know what, those words really hurt me. You don't have to tell them. Tell yourself, those words really hurt me. And that was really painful. And it made me feel bad. And that was horrible. And that you can say to yourself and accept it. And then you say, okay, now that I've acknowledged that feeling, I felt that feeling, now you can move on. Okay, so that's just something. And this is from experience that I'm telling you, because I am not at the point myself where I can take everything that's dealt out to me. Okay, people say harsh words, people say harsh things, or people do bad things. It still hurts. We still have feelings. Okay, so we acknowledge those feelings, but then we say, but I can move on. So that's just one thing I want to say from experience. Okay, so just because I'm telling you, that they do things out of mercy, and Krishna does things out of mercy, doesn't mean that, we're going to say like, yeah, I deserve this, it's my karma, so I'm just going to suck it up. And, no, it hurts. Hardships hurt. Pain hurts. Disease hurts. It's tough, and it sucks, as they say. So, and this is the time when you need to reach out and call a devotee and say, you know what, this happened, it really hurts me. And when we can share those feelings and explain those hurts, then we can move on. Don't try to cover them up with bhakti, what you think is bhakti or this, okay? And so anyway, I'm sorry, again, I got on a tangent, but just something that I wanted to just add in there with that whole idea of Krishna giving us mercy in the form of hardships. Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. Thank you for a very beautiful nectarian class. You explain all the verses so beautifully. And thank you for sharing your realization with Srila Prabhupada Ji. And very interactive class. Thank you for, getting us involved. So wonderful to be in your association. Please give your association more and give more classes. They're wonderful. Everybody's saying in the chat, they're, wonderful class, beautiful class, and we want more of your association. Hare Krishna. Dear devotees, if there are no more questions or realization at this time, I would like to pay my obeisances to Her Grace Phanesvari Lakshmi Mataji and all the assembled devotees. Pancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhuevacha patitanam pavnebhyo vaishnavyo namo namah. Ananta Vaishnavind ki jai. Namacharya Das Thakur ji ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Her Grace Phanesvari Lakshmi Mataji ki jai.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru and Gauranga. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji. Ending the call here. Thank you, Mataji, for such a lovely session.